Welcome, everyone. So excited to have you with us today and to meet my very special guest, Beverly Zinet. Did I say that right, Beverly?
You sure did.
Awesome. Beverly is CEO of DBI. She is an international speaker and author. She co hosts several social media shows and podcasts. She works in the virtual reality world. I'm really curious to hear more about that. And she helps people find their true self, their purpose in life, and to scale their business. So, welcome, Beverly. It's so great to have you here today.
Oh, thank you, Regina. It's such a pleasure every chance I get to talk with you. God, we met back in 2020 in that nightmare, right? And it was just like this connection. And I love it when it's like magic. It's like
Yes,
magic. So it's
yes,
such an honor to be here with you today. And I'm excited. I'm excited for where
awesome.
you're going. I'm excited to where my business is going. And I'm excited to where the world is coming back into an awakening and a forward movement and just an excitement of time where it's me time for everybody to really shine, and that's what's exciting.
I like that. Me time for everyone to shine. I like that. And we certainly have a lot more me time to some degree during this pandemic, don't we? I mean, we've been cut
Yes, we
off
do.
from the world in many ways. And so now, that said, I know there are lots of folks who are at home and their me time is not so great with children and spouses and businesses and everything that they're having to do from the home and teaching school when they never thought they would be a school teacher and all of that.
Oh, that's got to be insanity. Oh my goodness. I,
Yeah,
I couldn't even imagine that.
yeah,
Not
especially
in
when
the
that was never your plan.
right. That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
but you're right. There's there are some really good things that have come out of this past year. There are some things that are not great, obviously, people who've been ill, people who've passed on, so many other things that have happened over this past year, but a lot of good things are coming as well. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more. But right now, I want our listeners to learn more about Beverly Zymet. So, Beverly, tell us a little bit about where you come from, what your journey is, what's brought you to this place in life where you're so excited about life.
I've always, I think, from birth had an excitement with life, right? And I was always this little rebel. I never wanted to be told what to do, right? And and I spoke that, shall we say, right? I let my voice be heard from about 2 years on, and you know, there was a period in my life though that put me in a position of revamp, right? Because for me, it was all about freedom. All the big aha moments I'd had in my life were around freedom. And that's something that came into my full awareness just this past week. How crazy is that?
Oh,
I know, right? But it's always been there because
right.
again, it's like wow, when I graduated, it's like, oh, for me school was such a chore, right? It was like the accomplishment of graduating and having that diploma I've never used, but they said you're going to need, right? Right? Was a sign of freedom. It's like, I'm free. I'm free, right?
Gotcha.
And what happened a few years after high school is because of this little rebel me, I found myself in a heated argument with my mother. I went out and did something that it's like, fine, you can't tell me what to do, right? There's that.
Right?
And guess what? I spent the night with someone and I got I got pregnant. So they say it
Uh-huh.
can't happen in one time. Wrong. And finally, like 5 months later, I told my mom, right, that hey, this is what's going on. And she says to me, well, you don't have to get married. Oh, well, what was I gonna do? Right. So I did, and it really it was really a revamp because the first 4 years of my marriage, I ended up having sex 2 more times and I had 2 more kids. Okay. So to me, it's overrated. At that point in my life, it was really overrated. And I wasn't going to follow my mom's footsteps because there's 11 of us.
Right.
And I'm second oldest, right? And it's like, holy smoly, this is not my life. This is not where I'm supposed to be. I had no identity left but by association. And I was in a strict Catholic upbringing, right? 12 years parochial school, the Midwest, farm country, all of that. And this was back in the 70s. There was none of the things going on that there is today, right? And so for me, divorce wasn't an option because
Right.
it was so put down by my religious teaching and everything that actually suicide was more acceptable.
Oh my.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yes.
And because of where I was, I decided I was going to set off and figure out how I was going to check off this planet because this is definitely not where I wanted to be. So I took
Mm.
this walk and I gave I gave God a piece of my mind, shall we say? I I unloaded like there was no tomorrow. The anger, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much anger I had built up in me. And again, that's that rebel thing. Don't tell me what to
Right.
do,
Right.
right? And I just totally exploded to the point of exhaustion. Now I've always been intuitive from a child, and I heard this voice, and it says, "So who's going to take care of your kids if you're not here?"
Mm.
Well, you want to talk about reality slap? It's like, you know, and then I heard my dad's voice. If you're going to have these kids, you're going to have to take care of them because your mom and I aren't going to. It's like, well, that throws that option out of the world,
There
right?
you go.
You know, so it's like, okay, so where do I go from here? Because I had all these plans of where I wanted to be, and I think your listeners can relate to that. It's like, are you really living the dream that you had as a child? Seeing the world, if that be the case, having a big house, a new car, business of your own, whatever those dreams are, right? Because I was definitely not where I was supposed to be, or that I
Right.
presumed I was supposed to be. And
Right.
so it's like, okay, so I decided I'd make a pact with God, right? Okay, fine. If I got to stay here and take care of these kids because they're all under the age of 5, let's make a deal. So I said, I want this, this, and this, and this, and this. So I had a list, a mile long. And so the voice comes back and says, okay. Like, what? What the hell's okay, right? Like, okay, so how am I going to do this? And then I heard the message: start living your life for you and your kids. Piece of cake. So, my first option that I didn't think was an option of getting out of this, dead end marriage and everything, I know why I was there. I was there to have my children. They were
Right.
my driving force to really become the me that I am today.
That's awesome.
So I got my act together and I really started to understand the importance of identity and the importance of what freedom is all about. So when you look at your life as being, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know where I need to be. It's finding out your identity. And when you
Hmm.
know that identity, start looking at your assets. Because you know what? If you don't toot your own horn or pat your own back, nobody else is going to do it for you. So recognize your assets and then begin to capitalize on them and how
Can
you
you
could.
talk about assets a little bit more so folks understand what you're referencing
Sure.
there?
Okay, so your assets are is to what is it that you can share with someone else to help them overcome a struggle or a challenge. Like one of my greatest assets is to help you recognize the brain chatter, the old database that's ruling your life that keeps coming into play, those old habit things that say, you can't do that. Who the hell do you think you are?
Right.
You think you're going to? Oh, whoa, pay attention to. It's the old information that you had
Hmm.
placed in there. So how do you stop that? So I teach it through what's called a rah-rah system. It's to recognize where your challenges are and then to acknowledge that they're your truth because they've been your truth and instilled in your cell memory, then you release them. And that's probably the biggest challenge because people think if I release or I surrender, look, I'm a failure or I'm weak. No, because you know what? When there's no more battle, there's no war. Now you go on the offense instead of the defense,
Right.
right? And then you want to add and put in place, you know, what you just emptied and go the opposite because we live in this duality world. So I help people to do that. So one of my assets is to help you discover the challenges that are blocking you from being the success that you are, to help you recognize and find those assets, because sometimes it's easier to ask a total stranger than it is to ask yourself or your friends or your family. Oh my goodness, right? So don't be afraid to reach out and ask. And that's also can be a challenge in its own right. Is
Yes.
if I have to ask for
Especially
help,
for
does that,
women.
yeah. Does
Yeah.
that mean that I'm weak? No, it means that we are all connected. And the way the world is going and has been for at least the past decade, it's all about collaborating. It's all about coming
Right.
together. It's all about uniting. It's women supporting women. Oh my gosh, look at all over social media. Look at what we're doing right here today.
Yeah.
This is about
Exactly.
we are here for one another. Humans need humans. And
Yes,
that's
we
how
do.
we discover our assets to
Right.
support each other,
Awesome.
right?
Excellent. So, and I think particularly as new entrepreneurs, a lot of folks don't realize that they have those assets. Since
Exactly.
entrepreneurs are our primary audience here, and so it also kind of comes back to the adage of we don't know what we don't know. We
Yes.
don't recognize our own strengths, our own assets, and doing activities that help us to identify that can be super powerful.
Yes, it can. Thank you for sharing that because that is relevant and key for people who are looking to be an entrepreneur. We all have
Right.
that entrepreneur spirit within us. It's
Right.
what are the decisions that we're going to make? What's the responsibility? We need to become responsible for the self, and that's what an entrepreneur does. They start taking charge of their life. It's not the
Right.
control. Get rid of the control. You can't even control your own thoughts, for heaven's sakes. I say, don't think of a pink elephant. What's the first thing you think about? Right? I'm not going to think about a pink elephant. I'm going to think about a gray one, a purple
Yeah.
one. But you started out with the pink one, right? So it's about taking charge of who you are and what you want and letting people know that you are vulnerable. Share your story. How did
Yeah.
you overcome those challenges? What did it take? And work together.
Yeah.
Don't
And
be
just as you've
afraid. Yeah,
right, and just as you've shared your story of that journey with us, share your story. Your share, there's the expression of stories tell. That how's that go? Stories tell,
words,
facts. No, stories tell, facts tell, something like
something
that.
like
So that
that.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you're just giving facts out, it's not nearly as powerful as telling your
No,
story that
no,
people
it's
can
not.
relate to. And it builds trust and relationship and that connection that you're talking
Right.
about.
Well, sure,
Yeah,
because they can feel your pain, right?
right,
And it's like,
right,
wow, well, if they can do it, I can do it,
exactly.
right? One of the big shows that I started last year, just prior to all this topsy turvy world, right, was the Beverly Zimet show, where being the best you has just gotten easier, right? So
Yeah,
being the best you that you can be really begins that shift, and it helps you to understand. And so when you can become even better and greater in everything that you're doing, and by coming together, by collaborating, I was just in a book, a collaboration, with 16 other beautiful speakers and authors.
right,
Together we're a force that's unstoppable. So
yeah,
you can go to the top alone, or you can go with a team.
right. Very good, very good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that book. And is that your first book, or do you have other books out as well,
Oh
Beverly?
my gosh, I got a whole bunch of them out there.
Okay. So you are a prolific author. So
Okay,
talk to
that's
us
a good
about, yeah,
one.
talk to us about this new one, and
The
then
new
maybe share a little bit about your others.
Okay, I can do that. Um, this book is all about bossing up, right? Boss up for health and wellness. And so each of the 16 authors shared a little bit about their story and how it impacted their health, whether it was their mental health or their physical health, their emotional health, their spiritual health. What was the challenge that you had to overcome? Where did you start and how you got through that? And it blew me away listening to everybody's story and the impact. Like, wow. And we just had a summit here last week, where everyone got to really kind of speak that 15 minutes to fame,
That's
so to
awesome.
say, right? And so that is powerful. If you get an opportunity to collaborate with a group of women, or just a group, to be
Hmm.
in a summit, or to be in a book, especially a book.
Right?
Because what a book does, you don't get rich off the book.
No.
What it does is it puts you in a level of authority.
Right.
We hit number one status in in the first hour that we
Right.
launched, and
Right.
that's exciting, and it doesn't
Yes,
get
it
old
is.
no matter how many
Yeah.
times, right? Isn't that cool?
Yeah. It
Yeah,
is. It's nothing like the feeling of being a best-selling author. I
right,
still remember when you can see the two books behind me there. Well, all of those books behind me on the left there
right.
are books. The three just where you see the cover. I mean the spine. That's a series. It's a best-selling series that I have a chapter in each. And then, but my first book, Bulletproof Your Marriage, was an international bestseller in 5 countries. And I mean, that when you get that word that it's a
Oh,
bestseller, that's a moment you remember forever, right?
you do. It's almost like giving birth, right?
Yeah. Well, you did. Trust me, you
You
did.
oh, sometimes I think I think, doing a book like this and writing it's almost more difficult, than going through 9 months of a pregnancy, right?
Yeah.
Wow, some of the challenges and everything, but like you said, that ultimate feeling of not only just being a number one bestseller, but becoming an international
Yeah. It's an
bestsellers.
awesome feeling. It
Whew,
is
now
an
you just
awesome
had
feeling.
twins and
Yeah.
triplets and quadruplets.
So let me ask you a question. Who is it that you work with in terms of your ideal client that just gets you so jazzed up and excited and you can't wait to get with them? Who is that ideal client for you? What do they look like?
Oh gosh, they look like someone who is like, I'm stuck, not sure where I'm going to go, right? And it's like I'm like anxious, I'm stressed out, nothing is going the way it's supposed to go,
Right.
and it's like I don't know what to do, right? And so basically, when I work with clients, I like to help them understand that there's nothing wrong with them, right? And they do have all the answers. Life is like a
Right.
game of Jeopardy. We have all the answers in here inside of us.
Right.
Just so that we don't have the right question,
Yeah.
right? So what I do is I help my clients find those right questions. Let
Right.
me help you start to discover, like I mentioned earlier, what are your assets? And
Right.
where do you really want to be in life? What are your goals? What do you want out of life? How do you see yourself being that you're not? And when we can start coming into a structure, it's a system. Systems work, people don't,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
We have all these analogies, and it's like getting over your bad self, shall we say, right?
Right.
And if you
Right.
don't like your story the way you wrote it back
Right.
in the day, which is called your past,
Yeah.
rewrite
You
it.
get to rewrite it.
You have that option, and it really is just that simple.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when the mind chatter takes over, and that's one thing I help my clients do too, is to begin to really recognize what the brain chatter is and how you can shut it off permanently, how you rewire and reset your mindset,
excellent,
right?
excellent.
It's not that difficult. I'm actually doing a 4 week little boot camp kind of workshop
Right,
that takes you through the science of it, but takes you through the understanding of it in step by step simplicity and ease
right,
that's actionable and sustainable. Because all the information in the world
yeah.
is just that.
It's
If you don't
worthless
put it into
without
without
implementation.
action, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so in what you'll find about me, what I do, and I specialize this again as an asset, is I teach you the how step by
right,
step so that you can implement in every avenue of your life. That's what sets you apart,
right.
right?
So, um, when is the class?
The
What's
class is
called
going to
and when
be
is it?
it's actually um Passport to Freedom. That's my company that I started. It's going to be a series, and this one is called Reset Your Mindset. It starts on April 3rd, and then it goes for the next 4 weeks. It's on a Saturday, starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, goes till noon, and it really goes in depth of everything so that you can understand the workings of the body, the physical body, the mental body, the emotional bodies, your spiritual body, your soul cellular memory. Where's your consciousness? What's your level of frequencies? What are these chakra systems all about? How every one of these bodies need to work together so that now you can become whole instead of piece by piece. And
Excellent.
that's freedom, and that's fulfilling.
That's awesome.
So we'll
We
have a
will,
link. We'll have a
yes,
link for you for that.
excellent. We will put that in the show notes for sure
For
and
sure.
encourage people to take advantage of that. Um, well, it sounds like things are just going awesome. Or, I don't know if that's awesome or awesomely, but that things are going wonderfully for you. So it must be awesomely.
You know, it
um,
it is, getting back, everything is in a digital world, you know. And not only the digital world, but virtual reality. And I think a lot of your
right.
listeners may know or not know what virtual reality really is.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It's the world of the avatars, and all the big wigs, are saying that 2021 is the year of the avatar. When you think about avatars, start looking at the social media. Everybody's running around these little characters, right?
Hmm.
Well, we have learned through avatars all our entire life, back through civilizations when prophecies were given and stories were given. They were all acknowledges, around different aspects of nature, of animals. How do we teach our children? I mean, when my kids were little and they were growing up, it was Sesame Street. Well, they're
Yeah,
avatars, right?
yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
and you look at what's happening today. There's just more and more. All the animated movies,
Right,
and then you've got. I don't watch TV, but I've been told that there's animated TV shows, right? But the
right,
biggest avatar world is the gaming industry,
right.
multi-billion-dollar industry, all done
Yep,
in the virtual reality world. Now,
exactly.
the mental health institution, that organization, the whole organization of mental health, has been incorporating the virtual reality world into it to help people overcome
Hmm,
anxiety, and
interesting.
and other emotions, right? It's very interesting because it's a safe platform. There's no
Hmm.
judgment. And so it really helps you build confidence much faster. It helps you get rid of that old story, right? And so
Right.
what I've done with DBI, which is Digital Business International, I partnered
Okay.
up with someone, 2 years ago. I was looking for a way to bring my workshops to the computer and make them live. But these little
Right.
square boxes weren't cutting it. And so at the beginning of last year, January of last year, my friend came back to me and says, I got your answer. And he had built a university on the platform and like, wow, where do I sign? How do I get started?
Wow.
And like if you're watching this and you're seeing the pictures, the stage behind me is in a virtual reality world. And so we've created the business around making a business out of that for businesses. And now when people have to stay home, oh my goodness, guess what? You here at home, why not, instead of being in these little squares that are stressful, is to
Right.
go into the virtual reality platform. Everybody's sitting around that conference table. Everybody's doing their work. And if they need to reach out to one of their fellow employees, they don't have to try to get them on a phone. They don't have to send them email. They don't have to send them a message. All they have to
Right.
do is look up and say, hey, Betty, hey, John, hey, boss, right?
Very
They're
cool.
right there connected. And now more than ever, we need to be reconnected. Humans need humans. And it's all done in a virtual reality platform, which is
Good.
really exciting,
I'd
right?
love to visit with you about that,
Well, you know
afterwards.
what?
That sounds quite interesting.
It is. And all people have to do is just say, hey, show me a demo, reach out, and we'll
Can you
share
share
demos with you.
now? Is it your company? Is it Digital
Yes.
Business International that's providing that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I'd love to see a demo. I'll tell you now. I'd love to see a demo.
Well, you know what? We're just going to have to do that because you are going to be blown away.
That is interesting. So, as you know, coming into this, we do have three questions that we ask each of our guests.
Okay.
And so we want to hear your answers to these three questions. And the first one is, what is a leadership principle that you've utilized in your life and business that's made a difference for you?
Okay. They're actually two words. Okay. Two
Okay.
words. And they go hand in hand because you
Okay.
can't have one without the other, you know? And
Right.
that is belief and trust
Uh, both good
in
words.
yourself,
Right.
in yourself.
Okay.
So when, other people can maybe believe in you and see things in you that you don't, currently see,
Right.
trust that and learn how to begin to trust and believe in yourself. And when you find those assets,
Hmm.
that is going to help you to really begin believing in who you are, what you are, and why you are. And it's that purpose in life. And then trust your instincts. Don't second guess yourself, right?
Right.
Because when you second guess, what happens? The brain chatter of doubt comes in and says, well, who the heck do you think you are?
Yeah,
Right? Oh
exactly.
my goodness. And that's that old story, that old habit. So it
Right.
goes back to everything we previously spoke about. So believing and trusting in yourself will put you in the forefront of leadership, of knowing, and it will help you become the expert in whatever field you choose.
That is awesome. So well said, Beverly. So well
Thank you.
said. Like that. And it is obvious that you are passionate about what you do. I mean, anybody listening to this who can't hear the passion, well, we need to get you a hearing aid.
Well, thank you for that.
So you've obviously pursued your purpose in life, your passion, and then you talked about that from the beginning when you had the children, the small children, and moving
Right.
forward. How has following that purpose and passion impacted the success of your business?
Oh, wow. My children were my driving force.
Right,
So you have to look around in your life. What is your driving force? Right? So
right,
back in the day when that was happening, them being my driving force to really push me into the who I am and the what I
right,
am and the why I am is great.
right.
now they're all growing and, they got businesses of their own. They have families of
Yeah.
their own. I've got grandchildren, great grandchildren, and
Right.
life is good, right? It's like now it's finding another driving force. And that's where connecting with other humans, working together as a team,
Yeah.
that begins to put in another driving force, right? And when you can find your purpose becomes a passion, right? It
Right.
becomes a passion. And that is very important. And if you're not passionate about it, get out of it. Get out of
Yeah.
your
Go
own way
find
and
something
go.
else. Yeah.
That's right. And if you didn't learn anything from 2020 of being locked up in your own little square box on more than, one arena, it's like, take a look. How many times did you go to work saying, "Oh, I hate this job. I hate this job," right? And why did you stay there?
Yeah.
There was a paycheck.
Right.
All of a sudden, now you don't have the paycheck. What are you doing about it? You
Right.
can't sit around piss and moan about it. Now find your passion. This
Yeah.
is your time to shine and come alive,
It truly is.
right? So when
Yeah.
you can find that passion, which comes through your purpose and the identity of who you are,
Right.
that together, your identity and your purpose is going to impact your business, your delivery, what you do to serve others, how to
Right.
make the world a better place to live,
Better place.
because
Absolutely.
we're all in it together and we're all one. It's time to unite.
That's again well said. And the thing about that passion is that when you're operating from the place of your passion,
Mhm.
you will automatically attract others to you who resonate with that passion.
Exactly.
And there you go, building that community as well as attracting clients to your business. They want to
Right.
do business with people who have that same passion and
Right.
who have some expertise to share with them. So awesome. Third question. I truly believe that profit in our business is more important than revenue. I mean, yes, you
Oh
have to make
gosh.
sales to make the revenue, but
Right.
if all of the money is going out the door, you can be making millions of dollars of sales and not bringing anything home, right? It can all be
Exactly.
the cost can be greater than the revenue. So yes, we need revenue to grow our business, but more importantly, we need profit coming from that revenue. What
Right.
is one strategy that you've used in your business to generate more profit in the business?
Well, understanding, we get into the money factor, and a lot of people don't like to talk about money, right? It's like, hey,
Right.
come on. It's what makes the world go around, okay?
It
The
is. It is. And you're
world
not
go
going to
round.
get very far without it.
No, no, you're not. It's kind of right up there with oxygen,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But money is just that. It's what you can do with it, right? It's
Exactly.
what money can do, you know, for you and with you, and how you can make a difference in the world. But if you don't have the profit aspect, and how do you make profit? You need to understand what your percentage of ROI is, return on your investment. Now, a lot of
Right.
people think, okay, if I just mark it up X amount of dollars, that's the percent that I'm getting. Well, it's
Yeah.
not.
Not
You know,
right.
it's, because they say in business, if you can make 33 and a third percent profit, you're going to succeed. And that's true. So people think, oh, I just mark it up 33 and a third percent. No. To make an actual 33 and a third percent, you need to mark it up 50%. Mark
Right.
up 50%
Right.
to come down the other side to make 33 and a third percent.
Right.
So when you're selling a huge, like a high end ticket, right?
Right.
Know what your cost is, all your advertising, everything that has to come out of this. Are you paying someone to market for you? Are you paying affiliates, referrals? What percentage are you paying them? All of
Right.
that, right? And then deduct that from what your initial selling price is, and the
Right.
leftover is going to be your revenue.
Right.
But when you divide it by what you sold it for, will give you your actual profit.
There you go.
And
There you
if
go.
it's below 33 and a third percent, you better reevaluate because you will never survive, right?
That's when you need to find out how you get more to drop to that bottom line.
That's right.
Because you're
That's
right.
right.
You won't survive if you're not making profit. You can only go so
Right.
long. And
Right.
another, most of us as entrepreneurs are not highly motivated by money. It's not the money that got us doing what we're doing, right?
No.
It's the impact that we can make, the difference that we can make in the world. But you got to get a handle on the money in order to stay in business. And the more profit you can
Yes.
generate, the more people you can help, the greater difference that you can make in the world, the more profit you can generate. So it's in your best
Perfect.
interest to learn the numbers. Um, we'll probably be offering a course on that soon, just on that, just the numbers, getting a handle on your numbers. Because as you said, most people get scared away by the numbers.
Yes, they do. Well,
So so
they
we
don't
teach it.
understand them.
They don't understand it. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
teach it in a very simple, I simplified it as much as I can simplify it at the moment and just try and make it so non-stressful
Right.
for
And
people.
when
And
you're
so,
delivering your passion, when you're delivering a result that's going to change people's lives, the money will follow,
yes, it will.
right? Don't
It
get
will.
lost in the money. Get
Right.
lost in what's
In
in
the
it for them.
service. Yeah.
That's
Get
right.
lost in the service.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Beverly, do you have any parting thoughts for us? Anything that we haven't kind of delved into that you'd really like to share with our audience today?
I'd like to say two things.
All right.
Okay.
We are all ears.
First off, Wayne Dyer has been a mentor of mine like forever, right?
Uh-huh.
And he said, don't die with your story in you. Okay. And if you don't like that story, change it. But also, another thing he said is it doesn't matter what other people think, feel, or say about you. It only matters what you feel, think, and say about
Uh,
yourself.
that's excellent.
That's where the trust and the belief in who you are comes from, right?
Right.
And remember this, old ways do not open new doors.
Mm. So we must change with the times to some degree. Is that the message in that?
Well, yes, because if
Yes.
you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, what are you going to get?
Always get what you've always got.
That's right. You got that right.
Yeah. And we are in new times. We're in exciting times.
Yes, I think
You
so.
just did
Yeah.
a 3 day summit last week. I just did a 3 day summit last week. We have, and it was so, I like you were excited about who you were with and what you were going on, and I mean, what was going on. And we had 30 speakers over those 3 days, and it was phenomenal to be able to interact with them and to hear their interviews and to do all of that. So,
Right.
you know, we need to get outside of ourselves and take advantage of the amazing opportunities that are out there right now. If you're not moving forward, it's generally because you haven't made the decision to move forward.
Right.
Because there's so many opportunities for you to move forward right now. You can always
Right.
reach out to Beverly. All of her contact information will be in the show notes. You can reach out to me. We're both here to help you move forward, do what you need to do to live the life that you want to live, to be the person you want to be.
Exactly.
So, Beverly, it was
Exactly.
such a pleasure having you on the show today. I'm so grateful for you agreeing to be a part of this and for us to get to reconnect because it's been a while.
I
I'm
know it's
excited about all the new things that you're doing. I mean, I can see such a shift in you from the last time we actually got to be in front of one another.
well,
There's
thank
just
you.
a very energizing uh, shift in what you're doing, in who you are and what you're doing. So
Well,
wishing you the best for an amazing 2021.
I thank you so much for this opportunity, Regina. And it's interesting what you said about how you saw the shift in me. I've watched your shows. I've been watching you, right? And again, you have grown so much as
Thank you.
well. There, I mean, how can you not? And
How
again,
can you
what you
not?
said
Yeah.
about being about not moving forward, stagnation
Yeah.
doesn't get you anywhere. Just
No, it doesn't.
don't wait to think you have to make everything perfect, because everything is perfect in its imperfection.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
And just become a Nike and do it.
Do it.
Right.
Very
And
good.
so
Yeah.
it's been an honor being here with you today and reconnecting and seeing where the two of us are going together. And I'm sure we'll be collaborating on a few things. And
I'm sure we will.
so thank you so much again. And thank you, everyone out there, for listening.
All right, folks. We will see you again next time around with another guest who's going to share lots of information to help you move forward in your life and your business. Bye for now.
Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the
anger, sadness, confusion, unhappy, amazed, upset. Don't know why. Don't understand. These were a lot of the thoughts and emotion that was going through not only my head, but in a lot of other people's head in the world. September 11, 2001. I remember that day like it's yesterday. And I really remember 2 days before that day that really put a stamp in my life. At that time, I just started a new job 7 months in. I've been in the insurance field for over 20 some years. And I told myself, I need some excitement. As some people know, you could either make insurance creative and exciting or boring, and I don't even want to hear you talk about insurance coverages. Well, I was in that moment of, can you ever make insurance exciting? You really can. I found that out through growth and being in the industry field. But at that time, I was working on a job for years, and I just wanted something different. I wanted something where I could work with clients a little bit closely. I wanted something that maybe was a new product in line that I could teach people, implement it, train, and coach. So I had all those categories. So I had some big challenges in my head that I wanted to fulfill. And I found the perfect job. Well, okay, I can't say I found it. Let's say a friend of mine found it. If I want to tell the story, tell it right? So a friend of mine said, hey, Barbara, I know a person that works at this insurance company. They've been in business for a long period of time. So you know you get some longevity if you just decided to come work with them. And they basically hired you. And I was like, okay. And I said, let me look into it. Send me, their site and I'll look into it and send me the position. So I did. Very excited. It seemed like that position fit me to a T. Everything I was looking for. Just opportunity, training, being a coach, dealing with clients, new product that they had on, everything. I was like, wow. I said, that came quick. And I was so happy and a little fearful because I was like, this is too good. You know how sometimes some things seems like it's too good to be true and you're like, oh, wait a minute. But you know what? I said, okay, Barbara, don't rock the boat. This might be, you asked for it. Words are powerful. You put it out there. As I tell people all the time, words are powerful. So it just came back. And it came back in this wonderful position that I basically went for, got interviewed, got hired. So the first thing they said is, one, you are going to be dealing with a lot of clients because you have the experience, Barbara, so we're going to make you a senior client specialist. And what that meant was two things after that. You get a company credit card and you get to, now this is the big one. This is like the cherry on top. This is like the biggest thing. This is stuff that I was like, yes, you get to travel. And I was like, yes, I love this job. I love this job. I love this job already. And I didn't really start. So when they told me that, I said, this was it. This is something I wanted different. I wanted something change in my life. So 6-7 months, I just worked hard. I did all the training they had us. I learned the new system from front to end, back to forth. You could not ask me a question that I didn't know about that system because I really wanted to make sure I was an expert at it because I knew I would have to start training others. And then from my other coworkers, I had to start training the clients. So it got to that point in September. So 3 days before September 11th, my manager says, Barbara, got something for you. And I was like, okay, now two things. When your manager brings you in the office, it's either one, they're talking about maybe laying off. I mean, that's all I was thinking in my head. Or two, they're going to give me a raise or, move me to the next level. So, I said, I'm going to look at two. I don't want to look at one. I'm going to look at two. So really it was three. There was a third one that I didn't know. And the third one was, okay, Barbara, we're sending you out of town because you need to train your client that you've been dealing with for a while. They want hand-to-hand on-site training. So I was like, okay, I could deal with 3. I like 3. I like option 3 because I said I want to travel. They said, you're going to be going to New York. You're going to be going to the office in New York in the Twin Towers. And I was like, oh, wonderful. Okay, that's even better. You have your business credit card. Make sure that you take out the client, make them feel welcome, make them feel happy, and all the warm and fuzzy thing that you do for a client to make sure that they're happy and creating higher expectations that we would always create. So I said, okay. So they said, you're leaving on the 10th, and you'll be there for 5 days. You get a chance to really teach them everything that they need to know. I said, okay, no problem. I got this. Because I was ready to rock and roll. I was ready to just go and get on the plane and everything. So I had everything packed up. I talked to my client. His name is Charles. We've already been talking. I was training him online on the WebEx. He said, Barbara, I can't wait to meet you in person. I'm like, Charles, I can't wait either. And then he was telling me about some spots in New York that we can go to afterwards, after we get done training, just to wind down. Because he said, you've never been to New York. I said, no, I haven't. So this is a good thing. I'm ready. I am ready. So get ready. September 10th comes around. That evening, get a phone call from my manager. Barbara has some news for you. I was like, uh-oh. And her voice didn't sound too good. She how you hear those voices where it's like, this don't sound like it's gonna be what I want to hear. And it wasn't. She basically said, change of plans. Charles, your client Charles, he decided he wanted to come to Illinois because he has family here, and he just remembered there's a lot of birthdays and anniversaries that are going to be around the same day that he was going to be able to come this way. So he said, I'll just meet you in Illinois. So I'm thinking to myself, really? I said, I had everything planned. I was going to go to the Twin Towers. I was going to meet the other coworkers I met. I was going to meet Charles and his team, and we was going to go out afterwards. I was going to get the chance to, look at some things in New York because I'd never been there. So I'm like, okay. In the back of my mind, I was like, really? But in my mouth, I was saying, okay, I understand. Because if I would have said what I said in my mind, what's going to happen. So anyway, so the next morning, I, get in the car, get ready to go to work. And then I get to the building. And I don't know what happened or what was going on at the time. Mind you, I didn't have my radio on. I didn't have my cell phone on where I was looking at the news or anything. So I didn't know that the United States got attacked that morning while I was driving into work. I get to the office and Charles is there. And he was in the conference room. And my manager, in fact, we were all in the conference room because they were all watching the news. And that's what I found out. That the 2 towers, the first one first fell and then the second one. That day, I think the whole time when I was looking at the TV, me and Charles was looking at each other with this in our faces. And we just had to just tell ourselves, oh my God. We stood up and we gave each other the biggest hug that you can ever imagine. And I shedded a tear. And I looked at Charles. And I said, they just said we lost 355 employees in the same building that we would have been having a meeting in a conference room. We wouldn't have been alive. We would have added to the number of those unfortunate lost souls that day. I want to let everybody know that there's reasons why things happen in your life. Don't take it for granted. Be grateful what you have in your life. Understand that while you're here, don't make any excuses why you can't do certain things. I told myself after that day, it reminded me on what my why, what my purpose, what my passion and drive was to do to help others. I always wanted to help another person understand who they was and know they have value. And that reminder of me not being at that particular place and time that would have ended my life told me I needed to push forward in what I needed to do. Till this day, myself and Charles calls each other every year during 9/11. I have talked to him through his new wife that he got married to, the children that he had, the grandchildren that he has right now. He has talked with me through me going through cancer, and I'm in remission right now, me going through being an international author, Amazon author, being a speaker, being a coach, having my own business now, and working a day job. We both have succeeded in so many areas of our life. But the one thing that we truly, truly succeeded in is we keep reminding ourselves every day we are enough because we had a chance. We was given another chance to prove that. So I want to tell everyone out there that's listening to me right now, understand that you have value. Understand your purpose and your passion and your drive. I always use the drive as the stories of what happened. That's your drive to push you, to remind you, to let you know that you are more than enough, that you need to write that book, that you need to be that speaker, that you need to fulfill something in somebody else's life that's a need. Because you never know a day when you're not able to do that anymore, that you're not able to be a lighthouse to others. So I dedicate this to every person that was lost that day of my coworkers. I dedicate this to every person that wants to go to the next level and take that chance and move forward because time is of the essence. I dedicate this to every dreamer, every person that says, I want to be better. Do what you need to do, because you never know the day when you're not able to do it. Remember, push forward, move forward, no excuses. Understand you are more than enough.